And then you don't really need to get anything out. This is attached. It's number 1 on your current lesson, should you want to go back and review any of this information. All right, so we are actually talking about the final exam. All right, this is the exam that will be given next week. It looks like for you guys, I think it's next Wednesday. All right, so here's the deal. Obviously, this is a little bit similar and a little bit different than usual. And so I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page. There are certain things that are the same for all your classes, and then there are certain things that vary a little bit by course. All right, so the Spanish 3 plan is as follows. All right, so first of all, just FYI, your exam covers 4 chapters. You will notice MOMIA is not on there because it is not on there. All right, so we did 4 chapters from your textbook, and they are listed there for you. So if you kind of look at them, that might spark a little memory as to what we were talking about. If not, I'll go into the specifics in a minute. All right, your exam is worth 20% of your final grade. Each 9 weeks is worth 40. That is the way it has always been. Okay, and that is the way it will continue to be after this semester. So what that means is if you are on Skyward and you look at your S2 grade, right, that combines your first and second 9 weeks. So that's what we're looking at. So you can have a pretty good idea of where you're headed at this point. The only grade that is left is your speaking grade for tomorrow. That's it, unless you have something to make up for me. So here is the difference, right? This year, again, has been super weird. Hopefully we will never have another year quite like this. For some of you, it has been great. And we recognize that for many of you, it has not been great for various reasons, right? So to kind of level the playing field, to give everybody an opportunity to do better as needed, that's where this is coming from, right? So that means, yes, it is true. This final can only help your grade. Okay, I'll say that again. This final can only help your grade. So whatever your S2 grade is, after tomorrow or after you do your speaking, it can't go down. So that should relieve a lot of pressure, right? Usually finals are a pretty stressful time. And hopefully this year it says just this once, you get to take your grade, take your test, do your best, and there really is no pressure. So if you have an F, then there's pressure, right? Because this can potentially get you to pass this class. If you have a grade that you're just not thrilled with, again, there's a little bit of pressure, it can't go down, but you have every opportunity to get it up a little bit. So let me talk about what the test looks like and what you can be doing to prepare. So because the speaking is a part of your grade for the semester, there is no speaking on the final, right? That is a huge difference. We will probably never do it like that again. Typically, there is a speaking portion, there is a writing portion, and then there's a multiple choice. Okay, the speaking we want everybody to do. So that's why it's part of your grade, because everyone has to do it. You don't do it tomorrow, you get a 0 out of 50. All right, it's not optional. Then the writing we've kind of done away with this year because there's an excessive amount of Google translating, and it just doesn't really give us a good idea of what you know. So therefore, we are left with the multiple choice part. So it says there's 70 multiple choice questions. You get 90 minutes to do it. So that should be more than enough time. There will be several listenings. Actually, you know what I think? I don't want to say this wrong. I think there's only one listening in third year. So I think there's one listening. There's several readings, and then there's just some fill in the blanks, right? So it's going to be vocab. Either you get to pick the vocab word, or how sometimes on a test, I'll give you a word bank and you put it in the right place. Or there could be some grammar sections, and I'll review what grammar we've covered in a second. All right, so your exam is next Wednesday. It is the second one of the day. All right, so that means at 10:20, you would come here. You've already taken your morning, the first morning exam, which was period 6, 7, 8. And then you come here. We have about an hour to study. Then we have a little extra time for lunch, right? So if you recall, because I know you haven't done this in a year, if you were here last, gosh, you haven't done it in a year and a half. I don't even know. So anyway, that orange paper has your little snack pack that you probably did a year and a half ago, where you just get to go down to the cafeteria, you grab a little stack lunch, and then you eat that in here. And then we take our test. You get out about an hour early. So I think you get out about 1:30 instead of 2:30. So that's kind of the schedule. Then what to review. All right, really, like I said, there's two things. You got your vocab, which you can go back and do some Quizlet. I will give you all of the links for Quizlet tomorrow and then every day after that until you take your final. And then there are 4 grammar topics. All right. The last 2 you should be feeling pretty good about because we've done those most recently. Future tense and conditional. Also, you should have reviewed those for your speaking questions, right? Now, these 2 are from the beginning of the semester, so it's been a little while. Please remember, you can always find notes under class resources. On the subjunctive, that was like I hope you do something. It's important that you do something. I want you to do something. Are you going to do it? I don't know, right? There's that doubt. And basically the subjunctive is a lot like the usted commands. So those 2 forms are very, very similar. Okay. So once you go back and review, if you know one, you basically know the other. Then we have usted commands for, those are formal commands or for a group. And then you also have 2 commands, which are informal commands. So it's been a while on those. All right. So I would definitely recommend you go back and review those notes, and then I will give you a bunch of Canvas practices, some new ones to do on your own so that you can practice the various topics that you need to review. So that is the overview. All right, here is what I will say about the exam. Okay, so since you are in here for literally like 3-hour chunks of time, all right, on your exam day, if you are here or on Zoom, okay, it makes sense to me that you're going to take this final. All right. There is no reason for you to come here and sit here for 3 hours and do absolutely nothing. So I understand that this will not affect your grade and lower it. But if you are here, you're going to take it. All right. Now, if you don't do well on it, it doesn't hurt you. If you choose not to come, well, that is on you. Okay. I will mark you present or absent. It will not affect your grade if you are not here. Okay, but if you are here physically in this room or physically on my Zoom, there is just no reason to sit here for 3 hours and do absolutely nothing. All right, so I'm going to ask that you take it and you see how you do, right? So again, it's the only time this is ever going to happen. So it's a pretty good opportunity for you. All right, questions, Gracie?
Okay, so basically just going off what you just said, as an athlete, I have to come for attendance. Because if I don't, then I can't play.
Oh.
So like, I didn't really plan on taking the final because I have a good grade in this class. So even though I already have a good grade and I come for attendance, you still won't be paid.
I mean, what else are you going to do? You know, it's just such a, if it was like an hour, like fine, but like it's 3 hours. I don't know. It just seems like, I don't know, you might as well try it or do it. I mean, you know, if you take it and you're done in 10 minutes, like, what am I going to do? You know what I mean? But I just feel like if you're here, you might as well do something. That's such a long period of time. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm thinking, you know, and before we'll play some Blicket and we'll do, you know, whatever, just like, and then, I mean, you don't have anything to lose, right? If you decide you're done, you're done. So that's what I would say. I know it's a weird situation. So I'm just trying to kind of make sense of it, what makes sense to me. Fair question. All right. I know I got a question in the chat. So let me see what I got here. And then, yes, there's definitely a possibility, Jameson. We just have to look at the numbers. All right. So any other general questions about that? That's just kind of what makes sense to me. Anything else on that? All right. Well, let us move on to the more pressing thing, which is the speaking. All right. So why don't you find your speaking notes? Let me share a little bit of what I think will work best for practicing this. And I am going to give you probably about 10 minutes to kind of work if you need some work time / start practicing. And then, you know, really, I want to give you a chance to ask questions. I want to give you a chance to practice. So those are kind of the main, that will be the main focus of the rest of the period. All right. So I'm going to screen share. This is the speaking and review with you what I expect and how I envision the setup. So tomorrow you plan to go. All right. Assume that you're going to go. If you don't go and it spills over into the next day, fine. But we don't know who it's going to be. And I will always start with volunteers. Once my volunteers run out, I just pick you randomly. All right. So you got to go. All right, so what it's gonna look like is, so you've got these 10 questions. Basically, I will have 5 in a pile, and then I will have the other 5 in a pile. So you will have to do some from both the top section and the bottom section. I would guess that you'll do 2 from the top and 2 from the bottom. All right, I envision doing 4 questions. All right, if I really can't decide, I might ask you a 5th question, but otherwise 2 and 2 seems sufficient to me. I will be listening for 1, can you understand my question? Right, that is part of your job, is to know what the question means. And then number 2, can you give me a reasonable answer in Spanish? Following this criteria, right? I want your grammar to be in good shape. So these should be in the future tense. These should be in the conditional. Your pronunciation, you got to practice it. That's why I'm giving you opportunities to do that today. And finally, the risk taking. We've talked about that, right? Add stuff to it. Make it as detailed as you are capable of doing. Don't just tell me I will get married, right? Tell me, oh, I might get married, or I will get married, and I will have kids, and I don't know, you can add to it. You could say like 2 boys and a girl and a dog and, you know, a house in Colorado, right? So again, you can add to these. If you give me a very minimal answer, I don't know, that's probably a C plus, B minus. If you want that A or that B, you got to give me more than just super basic. Yes, I will get married. Yes, I will live in Indianapolis. Yes, you got to give me a little bit more. So plan that out. That's why you get these questions in advance, so that you can make them good. This is your chance to show me what you have learned. I don't know. I guess that's it. Questions for me before I give you, like, I was going to give you maybe like 10 minutes on your own, just to clean things up, look at things, make sure you've got this as close to done and in good shape as possible. And then we'll do the first 5, hopefully twice. And then maybe the second 5 twice. I think I only had time to do it once last period, but we'll see what we can do. So questions for me first. If you want me to look at something, if you want to help me, if you want me to help you with pronunciation, if you just don't understand what a question means, you can ask now, or you can ask me one-on-one. So does anybody have anything for the good of the group? Okay, so Zoom friends, I am not going to share my screen the whole time. So if you want to, maybe now would be a great idea, if you're not looking at these questions, just to take a quick screenshot or picture with your phone, so you can easily have access to these when I put you in a breakout room in a few minutes. So I'll leave that there for just a second. Otherwise, I'm gonna set my timer for 10 minutes, okay? So you got 10 minutes to do your own thing, practice, make sure your answers are as great as they can be, and then I'll start partnering you up with other people, okay? All righty, let's see, a quick question here. Sure. So real quick, somebody said, can you talk about the difference here? All right. So the first set, you were making predictions about what you think and hope will happen in your future, right? So if you're using the future tense, you are saying, I will live. Okay. This is more kind of making predictions about things that would happen. It says, si tuvieras mucho dinero. If you had what? If you had a lot of money. So how would that change things? What would you do? And this is what will you do? So yes, there's a little bit of crossover there. But again, remember, I'm only going to ask you a couple from the top and a couple from the bottom. So it won't be as overlappy as you think. Somebody else have their hand up real quick.
I was just gonna say, what the endings were again for the different.
The will and what. All right, here's what you do. Go to your class resources and just pull up the notes, and you'll just see them all there, and then you can just pick them off there. Okay. All right, you're down to about 9 minutes. So use your time wisely, and I'm going to stop screen sharing and mute myself, and then we'll regroup in about 9 minutes.